There has never been a more important time to move in a vegan direction. Whether you're ready to start, restart, or re-energize your vegan or plant-based practice, this podcast is for you. I'm Michelle Olander, life coach, vegan, ADHD matriarch, travel lover, and smoothie loather. And I know that it's the details that get in the way of your vegan journey. But I like to believe that the obstacle is always the way. So every week we meet here where I translate the tools of life coaching and Stoic philosophy. I bring you actionable tips, some laughs, interesting guests, and vegan ideas for everyone at any age. All to help you veg your best. Episode 212, Vegan Pancakes and Ketchup Days. Welcome back, my Veg Your Bestie. This was supposed to be the subject of an August episode, and I'm not sure exactly why it changed to October 1st, because that's where we are today. If you're listening when this first comes out, happy October 2024. You know, sometimes my ideas move in and out of the podcast rotation based on what I last spoke to a client about, or some question that's come through my Instagram messages on Veg Your Best. But this year, early in the year, probably actually at the end of 2023, I was talking to my coach. And, I determined that it was time for me to catch up with a few things that had been sidelined. And that sounds like it just happened to me, doesn't it? Like I'm just a victim. But the truth is, I had not made certain things a priority. I had not been following through with some things, and my coach and I spoke about ketchup days and how I wanted to use them. And if you don't know this term, it sounds like the red tomato type sauce people use on fries. But when I was at school, okay, that's quite a while ago, but some of my teachers had a thing called ketchup days. Days when we could come in and resit an exam or resubmit a paper or even hand in an assignment for the first time that had been missing. We could, quote, catch up, unquote, with something or some place where we'd fallen behind. Now, the details are sketchy. It's a long time ago, but as I remember, there was only one expectation that you had to arrange this with the teacher first. Tell them what or which thing you wanted to redo or catch up with, and it had to be on a specific day, a specific catch-up day that teacher had, or that, I can't remember if all the teachers had the same catch-up days or not, but that is immaterial. It wasn't just whatever you wanted, etc., but that's a long time ago. Anyway, I think it's such a good idea, though I do remember my mom had a different attitude. She was kind of I guess she had kind of a Darwinian attitude to human weakness and failings. My mother was actually outraged by library amnesty days, where you could bring back long overdue books without a fine, just so the libraries could get their stuff back. But anyway, I do think we should all consider a catch-up day here and there. I don't know, once a season, twice a year, once a week, whatever seems helpful in your situation. And maybe if we are in a position of some authority or leadership, the way my teachers were, maybe we can offer a catch-up day to allow colleagues, kids, employees, contractors, people to fulfill the expectations that we have had of them, even if it's been a minute that they haven't been following through. And even if no one has a posted policy of catch-up days, if you need one, why not ask for one? Why not reach out where you have not been showing up, not been following through, where you've let something slide or drop, where maybe you haven't been the friend or the colleague or the professional or the family member that you had intended to be? And this comes up for me this year as we are slowly finishing up 2024, because coming into the new calendar year, coming into 2024, I realized that I was out of date with some of my medical appointments. And listen, that had been going on for a while. I could blame my dad's death in 2015 and then subsequently helping my mom move out of their house and into an assisted living, and then my mom's final illness and death, and then COVID, and then a couple of my doctors retiring. How dare they? Or I could also just blame my own personal lack of enthusiasm for having these sorts of appointments and having my thyroid biopsied. And anyway, I hadn't had an eye exam or a bone density scan in 10 years, a bunch of other things. But since this year, 2024, I was turning 65, I thought, time my New Year's resolutions got caught up with. So this was my personal catch-up year for medical things. And it actually took a bit longer than expected, with doctors having retired on me and researching new doctors. And you probably know, if you are in the U.S., how long it sometimes takes if you are showing up as a new patient in a practice that's pretty full. Anyway, it took a little longer than expected, but it worked out. It's working out, because the new doctor appointments didn't really begin until July, the end of July. Anyway, long story. There have been some follow-up specialist referrals to get going. I'm in the middle of those appointments now, and for sure, not my favorite way to spend time. And it means dragging my resistant butt away from the beach in Rhode Island. Are you sad for me yet? So anyway, I'm thinking about this as my catch-up year, sort of like an amnesty. And to be honest, I did think I was going to need to ask for amnesty. I thought there would be a little more criticism, maybe some raised eyebrows, some kind of passive-aggressive shade that I had taken this long to get back to my doctor's appointments. And the closest I got to veiled shade was from my endocrinologist, who said, listen, if it takes you 10 years to come back again, I will have been retired for at least 5 years. So please book your follow-up for next month. Okay, Dr. Daniels. So yes, my thyroid may need some tough love this winter, but I'm pretty sure this issue of catching up is not just a me thing. Is it, my veggie bestie, right? Where do you need to do some catching up? What's been dangling? Where do you need a catch-up day or a catch-up week, or, like in my situation, a catch-up year? I know that for a lot of us, it feels very uncomfortable. It feels like we've been doing something wrong. Like we're in 9th grade and we haven't been passing in our homework, or like that bad dream many of us have some variety of, that it's finals week and we forgot to go or we overslept. Where do you need to return something, or call someone, or get some papers filled out, or ask a question? A lot of us assume we know what someone's going to say, so we don't even ask. And I'm wondering if you've ever done that. Have you ever assumed that someone, a doctor, an employee at motor vehicles, someone in customer service, or at a store where you need to return something that's never worked, have you ever assumed that someone was just going to be zero help? Or worse, give you a hard time? Have you ever had that assumption that's just kept you in avoidance? Just so you know, me too. Me too in spades, all of the above. I am by nature almost incapable of making even a phone call without visualizing a negative scenario where the person on the other end is going to not just misunderstand me, but give me 10 other impossible hoops to jump through. Now, this might just be a neurodivergence thing. It might be some sort of phone trauma I experienced as a younger person along the way. But when I summon my resolve and the person on the other end of the phone actually gets me sorted, honestly, I'm elated. I am beside myself with joy. Complete overstatement, but I get really, really happy when I've pushed that thing that's been hanging over my head to the done pile. And I want that for you, my veggie bestie. Where do you need a catch-up day? Where has something gotten missed and then missed again, and now missing it is the new normal? One thing that comes up for a lot of the people I speak with every week, are you getting your B12? Are you getting your B12 supplement? I know a lot of you who listen are not completely plant-based or vegan, at least not yet, but you might also want to check with your doctors about taking a supplement, a B12 supplement, or a vegan multivitamin. Or maybe you just need to put that on the list to ask for in your next physical, to have a blood test to see how your B12 is. Have you downloaded a bunch of plant-based recipes, or have you got a whole shelf of vegan cookbooks and you are not cooking anything from those books? You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not wasteful. You're not disorganized. You're not missing motivation and follow through. You probably just need a catch-up day, or maybe a catch-up hour on your schedule every week. In last week's newsletter, we call it the V-mail. You subscribe to that, right? Of course you subscribe to the V-mail, but if you forgot to, you could catch up by following the links in the show notes for this episode or in my Instagram, and you can subscribe to the Veg Your Best V-mail. Almost every single week we send out a little something, and a week or two ago I wrote about how over 10 years of being vegan, I had never figured out how to make pancakes vegan. In spite of the fact that I have shelves and shelves of vegan cookbooks and I subscribe to dozens of vegan cooking blogs. But I had never done it. And then when I thought about it, it seemed like there were way too many choices. So what did I do? I reached out to some no-nonsense vegans that I know. And by no-nonsense, I mean vegans who are vegan, but are not trained chefs or cookbook writers, or they don't live off the grid as pioneers and grow and grind their own heritage wheat varieties. Because I'm not actually likely to make pancakes very often. But I do have a bunch of grandchildren now, and I personally loved it when my grandfather or my mom made me pancakes. In fact, even as an adult, my father would try to entice me to stay over at their house sometimes by saying, "Listen, spend the night, and in the morning your mom will make pancakes." Talk amongst yourselves. Anyway, that's a great memory. Anyway, for some reason, I thought my grandmother cred required me to be able to throw together some pancake batter and cook in the cast iron pans I'd inherited from my mom, which she had inherited from her father. But when I look at most recipes that require specific ratios and ingredients, my ADHD kicks in big time, and I find something/anything else to do. And it's not like I don't have a couple dozen vegan cookbooks, at least, or the internet, which could give me hundreds, if not millions, of options. And it's true, too many options. Too many options can be almost as daunting as too few. So, as I said, I reached out to a couple of no-nonsense vegans and asked, "What do you do for pancakes?" And three of them said that they have recipes, but they usually just use add water mix from Birch Benders. Birch Benders to be specific, their organic classic pancake and waffle mix, which is vegan. So I bought it. I liked it. Kids like it. Very convenient that maple syrup is still vegan. And since stepping forward with this recent determination to catch up with this open loop, this open question in the back of my mind, and making the simplest decision, which was, how about you just ask a couple other vegans? Through this very prompt and painless discovery, I learned that the same company also have a presumably more recent variety called plant protein mix, which I really like. And of course I need more protein, right? We all do, all us vegans. So I'm not in any collaboration with this company at all. And would I like you all to recommend a vegan company that sells a mix like this? Yes, please. Yes, please. Do not hesitate to let me know if you have some recommendations, because this mix I'm using, it's not the perfect solution, but it is a solution. I can now, with almost no preparation, make some tasty pancakes quickly, even on a hectic morning with loads of hungry littles around, from reasonably wholesome ingredients that does not contain any animal products. So, perfect solution? No, not perfect. Really good solution, though? Yeah. And already with that first solution, I found a somewhat better solution with the plant protein mix that they make. And now, maybe that I'm sharing with you, my veggie bestie, maybe one of you will help me find an even better solution along the way. So this is what I mean about a catch-up day. What's one thing, one open loop, one kind of, tiring, annoying, weighing on you thing that you've not been dealing with? In my case, like my medical appointments, something tiny like a vegan pancake question, both of those things have been taking up mental space in my brain for a while. Now, maybe you would like to ask me something, and you can, of course, have my perspective, but we can also put your question out to the Veg Your Best audience. I'm going to be sharing some other catch-up days over the next few months, since I do seem to be making progress on those medical appointments. And, I feel like with that new energy from having handled a few things, I feel like I can take on some new areas. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like you can't do the somewhat simple new thing or take on the somewhat straightforward new action because there are these other things that have been hanging over your head? Well, you're not doing those things either. I see that a lot. A lot of you think you can't take a step or two further on your vegan journey because somehow it seems wrong when there are these other things that still need your attention that you're not dealing with. I say it, maybe not every week, but almost every week, I say that coaching is the most effective solution I personally have ever found for these very human thought errors that get in the way. And just bringing a few of them to light, sometimes even one at a time, making progress on even a small thing, it really can open up a world of momentum. It can truly clear out some of that mental bandwidth and problem-solving ability. That's something that I would love for you to have. And it doesn't take months. It doesn't take months to make progress. Typically about 8 weeks. And if you have a weekly schedule that changes all the time and you're resistant to put something on the calendar for 8 weeks, I get it. Me too. So we can figure out times that work for you and your lifestyle, even if it changes once in a while. It has always worked out with every client so far. So let's put a call on the schedule and see how we can tackle what's been getting in your way or what's been slowing you down. And honestly, if you have some vegan pancake ideas, bring them on. Or any other great ideas that you want to recommend, please let me know. I want to know, and I will share them. And of course, I'll give you full credit. Or if there's someone else's recipe that you use, let me know, and we can give credit to their book or their website. You know, in the V-mail this week, I sent a link to beautiful Sam Turnbull. She has a vegan pancake recipe. I think she calls it her easy vegan pancake recipe. And I put the link in the V-mail to her website and the recipe at itdoesn'ttastelechicken.com. Maybe you remember Sam from episode 163, because that was a good one. So as for V-mail, you can sign up for it, my almost always weekly newsletter that comes out on Thursdays. And if you're a freelance plant-based writer or vegan journalist, and you would like a byline, you'd like some credit, please get in touch. I would love to feature your work, paid of course, on a future Veg Your Best V-mail. Just follow the links in the episode show notes or on my Instagram profile, and you can pitch me. Okay, catch-up day. What are you going to catch up on? And by the way, if you're wondering whether your tomato ketchup in the fridge is vegan, the answer is it depends. It depends on the sweetener. And that's a topic we shared in previous newsletters. Non-organic refined sugar is an ingredient many vegans want to avoid because it may be processed using animal bone char as a decolorizing or whitening filter. That doesn't mean that there are actual bone fragments in the sugar, but if you would like to be purchasing products that do not use that technique, you will want to look for a ketchup that is specifically labeled vegan or that uses the term organic sugar. Organic sugar, I believe by definition, is not filtered with bone char. And maybe we'll make ketchup the subject of this week's V-mail. Okay, my Veggie Besties, I understand that information overload can be real. So wherever you are on your plant-based or vegan journey, I'm here to cheer you on and help you. But I'm inviting you to trust yourself to do the next thing you can to choose compassion, to choose kindness to the animals, to the earth, and to yourself. So get out there and veg your best. Veg Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Veg Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and veg your best.